question Trump in any way, we're automatically called a leftist, you know. And if I mention how bad some of the leftist people are to people that are leftists, they say, oh, you must be a Trumper, you know. So they have all these automatic assumptions. Is this why they needed a Trump-like figure, you know, to get people re-engaged in this false left-right narrative? Is he basically controlled opposition?
But in any business, if you're running this planet as a farm or a business, then you would already start to clip off the vine of these areas that would not survive anyway through this natural cycle. Wow. And you would transfer what you could to the new usable part of the earth that they think will make it through this cycle relatively unscathed.
The flood was not the most devastating. The Ogeigian deluge was. We have records about the Ogeigian deluge all around the world. What happened to the world in 1687 BC? That was 552 years after the Great Flood. Then 552 years after that was 1135 BC, where again Phoenix appears, but it's not really destructive, but it is noticed around the world. However, one culture of people, the Tuatha De Danann, actually weaponized that information. They had astronomical records in their possession from the House of Atreus, and they used that information and they weaponized it against the Firbolgs when they invaded Ireland in the Second Battle of Moytura.
More fair and accurate to describe it as a period of more unstable growing seasons and weather in general. Like when you look back at some of those, even the original publications 40, 50 years ago, it's stunning. From the 70s, you see that sunspots are going to drop off and the jet stream will cease to be a straight thing. It'll turn into these, that's called meridional flows, where cold air comes down from the Arctic and invades the growing zones, killing off crops, and vice versa. You see pockets of warm air extending up into the Arctic. And right now, those exact patterns are being described as the polar vortex and blamed on global warming, or the Arctic warming and blamed on global warming. So they've hijacked that narrative and they've insisted that it's global warming or nothing. And that's been a false duality, right? Where some people say that the planet's getting hotter and it's because of cow farts. And then that has sort of forced the other side to adopt the position of, no, that's nonsense. But in that dialogue, we've lost track of the actual truth, which is that no, our planet goes through perfectly normal natural cycles. We've been through them before, and they do involve a slight cooling, but more to the point, again, a loss of the stability of growing seasons.
In the year 2000, the UN wrote a 177-page report on replacement migration. Basically, this document examined how migration could counteract population decrease in places like Japan, South Korea, and numerous European countries including the U.S., because of declining birth rates. And this document presented a litany of migration scenarios. It examined how immigration could address labor shortages and keep the economy rolling. But notice, curiously, it's not recommended that these nations encourage population growth through incentivizing family building, like we've seen Hungary do in recent years. But the solution is to bus in all these migrants. The United Nations doubled down on these migration plans in their 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development.
And that's why they're allowing them to come into our country.
Most of these fucking losers in the media and politics have never built shit. I'm talking to all you men and women out there. You built a company. You've done more than most of your politicians, pretty much all of your politicians that you're in your local district. You've done more than anybody in the media. You control the real, the physical. They control the non-physical, the bullshit. The narrative, the fucking narrative. Can you drive a narrative? Can you eat a narrative? Can a narrative fucking take your head off from 700 yards away? They control something that's invisible and doesn't exist, like most of their fucking world. You control all of the tangible shit. You fix their cars. You build their roads. You erect their skyscrapers. You weld their shit. You grow their food. They don't do fuck all. These are not builders. These are not creators. These are fucking morons.
Do you think that this is a specific agenda by our controllers because the Phoenix targets this negative vibration, and therefore it scatters the signal, and Phoenix can't really search out the elite like it was designed to do? It was originally designed.
Graphene oxide is recognized by our bodies as a foreign antigen, meaning a toxin. Once injected, it has an affinity for the central nervous system, basically the spinal cord and the brain, because of its higher electrical conductivity.
Designed to
Once
do. It was originally designed to seek out these elitists and take them out. That's why every 138 years, these elite ruling families disappear on retreats. They disappear and they go on these island voyages and all that. Every single 138 years, the ruling families scatter. They're underground. They're hiding. And as soon as May is over with, they resurface and unleash their wealth again and all their stuff. This pattern is verifiable.
Fear is a very strong vibration. That's what I've been saying to people. You can't fear any of this. No stake in the outcome is the best way to look at this. You walk the path of the warrior, which is the ability to be able to face infinity without flinching. The knack of being able to face and being able to face with serenity odds and circumstances that are not included in your calculations, and to simply go where the path leads you. No stake.
What difference at this point does it make?
Those weapons of mass destruction got to be somewhere. Nope, no weapons over there.
We should not argue in the context of yesterday. We should really first analyze how the world has dramatically changed and is changing in an accelerating way.
I call upon all nations to do everything they can to stop these terrorist killers. Thank you. Now watch this drive.